Hey, welcome back to the Next.js 14 series. In the last video, we focused on data fetching, caching, and mutations inside server components. We explored how Next.js 14 makes it seamless to fetch data server-side using the built-in fetch API, with the added benefits of security, performance, and AC optimization. Today, we're going to dive into something that's just as powerful, but from a client-side perspective: React Query. If you haven't heard of it, React Query is an awesome library that helps you fetch, cache, and sync your data on the client with ease. So by the end of this video, you'll know how to use React Query to fetch data on the client side efficiently. So let's get started. Before we jump into the code, let's quickly talk about why we'd be using React Query in the first place. We could have just used native use effect with the use state to do the same thing. There is a long explanation why we shouldn't be doing that, and that's not just the concern of Next.js tutorial. I'll be linking a blog explaining everything in the description below. It abstracts away a lot of boilerplate code and provides a simple interface for handling asynchronous data in your client-side React components. React Query offers some really cool features like automatic caching so that your app doesn't need to refetch the same data multiple times, background refetching to keep your data fresh without disrupting the user experience, built-in pagination and infinite scrolling, support for mutations, which is perfect when you want to change data on the server from the client. Plus, it is compatible with TypeScript, which we're using in this project. Alright, let's move on to installing React Query and setting it up in your project. To start using React Query, we first need to install it. So open up your terminal and run add at tanstack/React Query. And also, just for development purposes, we'll be installing the developer tools by running add-d. So this will become a dev dependency with at tanstack/React Query DevTools. I'll be giving the commands in the description below. So we're going to create a new folder inside the components as providers. Now inside it, we're going to create a file called client.tsx. Now obviously, we're going to mark it as a use client component. Next, we're going to import query client and query client provider from the tanstack query. Also, we're going to import the React Query DevTools from the React Query DevTools package. Now, we can just do export function client provider with the children as the type is react.react node. We can just return children wrapped with query client provider. Now, this query client provider takes a client as prop and we have to define it. So we're just going to write before the return constant empty array equals to use state. Now inside the use state, we're going to find a callback with new query client. And inside the empty array, we're just going to write query client. So query client provider will now take the client as query client, and just under the children, we're going to pass the component React Query DevTools. By wrapping our app in query client provider, we ensure that React Query is available throughout our entire application. Let's jump into some code. We'll use the same API as the last video, but from the client side, using React Query. Create a new component in your project called blocks-page.tsx. So obviously, we're going to mark it as use client. Now, before doing anything, I'm just going to paste the rest of the code over here and I'm going to just walk you through what I am doing. So here is what's happening. We have created a simple fetch blocks function to get data from the blog API. Now, inside the component, we use the use query hook to fetch the data. The first property, query key, takes the blocks in an array. This key will be used internally to track data. Also, this is the key by which we'll get the data back without even resending requests to the endpoint. So React Query also caches it internally. UseQuery returns an object with properties like data, error, and is pending. We use this to handle different states of our data, like loading, error, or success. Finally, if the data is successfully fetched, we render a list of blog posts. So let's actually see it in action. So at first, we had our loading UI with the loading ... And after that, once loading is done and once the data is fetched, we get the mapped data of the blogs. Now, using React Query on the client, we can manipulate existing data on the server. But that's a topic for another video, because before that, we still need to understand how API routes work in Next.js. That's a wrap for today. We covered a lot of ground on client-side data fetching using React Query. In the next video, we'll talk about API routes and how you can retrieve and send data within the same Next.js app. We'll also cover best practices and how to integrate them seamlessly with your client-side components. So make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. But before I finish up, I want to let you in on something exciting. If you're enjoying the content and want to support me, you can join my Patreon at patreon.com/itsdrvgo. As a subscriber, you'll get early access to all my videos a day or two before they go public on YouTube. Plus, you'll be able to see exclusive behind the scenes, get sneak peeks of upcoming projects, and much more. It's a great way to stay ahead of the curve and get involved in shaping future content. Also, if you have any questions or need help with anything we covered, don't hesitate to join our Discord server. I'm active there and it's the best place to connect with me and the community. You'll find the link in the description below. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one. Peace.